Hi students, welcome to the video lecture on corporate etiquettes as part of pre-placement training program. This is Vidhya, placement coordinator of Phase 2 campus, Dr. MGR Educational and Research Institute. So what's etiquette in general? It refers to the code, manners, or set of rules that allow an individual to behave and interact correctly, and it is very important for an individual to be accepted in the society, and this etiquette includes good manners that help an individual to be presentable in the society. So this is etiquette in general. Now let's see what I mean by corporate etiquette. So it's nothing but behaving as per the normal accepted norms or conditions at the workplace to create an everlasting impression and also be successful is known as corporate etiquettes. That is, if by behaving or following the accepted terms and conditions or norms at the workplace can be successful, can help you to be successful, and that is called as corporate etiquette. So we're going to see some of the basic corporate etiquettes, which are workplace etiquette, email, telephone, and meeting. So first etiquette is workplace etiquette. We'll just see what. So it refers to the accepted behavior in workplace for making the workplace respectful and enjoyable. So four things that I would like to tell you in workplace etiquette that you might have to follow when you're in corporate. First one is be aware of floor manners, learn about elevator manners, incorporate cafeteria manners, and learn mobile manners. We'll just see one by one. So what is floor manners? Floor is like where you're actually going to sit and work. So there are certain manners which you have to follow. First one is please do not please do not misuse office property, like be it a telephone or a stapler, even a small stationery. Please do not misuse it. Second one is do not make loud conversations on the phone on the floor. So if you're talking to your client or customers, please do not make loud conversations because you might be disturbing others on the floor. Next, avoid loud conversations with colleagues on the floor. So basically you have to have soft and quiet conversations, be it on the phone or in person with your colleagues or friends. Next, do not look through people's computers, emails, or letters. This is very important. So personally you might just take advantage of your friends. You can just grab their phone and look into their personal messages or their emails or letters, but you cannot do that. It is not acceptable for your colleagues. You should even if he or she is your best friend, when you're on the floor without their permission, please do not look into their computers or emails or or their personal things. Next, do not sorry, listen when someone is talking. Do not interrupt. So if someone is talking to you, do not interrupt, be it your colleague or your superior or your junior, whoever it is. If they are talking about something, please do not deviate yourself or do not interrupt in what they're saying. Listen fully. Next, do not get involved in office gossip, which is very important. Then do not disturb others unnecessarily. And eating on the floor should be avoided. Please eat on the cafeteria, not on the floor or in your desk. Next, never borrow anything from someone's desk without permission, even if it is a small thing like a pen or a pencil. Also, you have to get others' permission and then start using that thing. And don't intrude on personal space of others. Don't simply go sit next to others, or if someone wants to be left alone, please do not torture them or pester them to talk to you. Give them their personal space. And last one is grooming yourself in public should be avoided. So adjusting your dress or your belt or combing your hair, anything, any grooming in public should be avoided. You should use the restrooms for that. Next is about elevator or lift. So how you should behave when you're using the elevator in the corporate or anywhere, even in the malls or anywhere. Please follow these kinds of elevator manners. First one is always maintain silence. This is for office elevator, but even in public also, please do not make loud noise in the elevators. People will prefer silence. Next is give others their personal space. Don't squeeze in or just stand very close to someone. Give their personal space in the elevator. Third one is never hold the door of the elevator for a long time. In colleges, I'm sure you would have stopped the door and wait for your friend to come. Don't do that. because someone might be waiting in some other floor. They might have an emergency, so never hold the door for a long time. Always let ladies go in first. So there is a saying that ladies first and everywhere. So if you are a gentleman, please allow ladies to go in first. Then do not push your way in or way out. So if you see most of the malls or any supermarkets, people will just rush in and rush out when they want to go. They won't even bother about others, they'll just push others and go. Please don't do that. Just go in and go out smoothly. Then do not crowd at the door of the elevator. And last one is, once you have pressed the button of the elevator, wait for it to come. Please do not go on pressing the button till the elevator comes to your floor. If you have pressed once itself, the elevator will know that it has to come to your floor, so please do not keep on pressing it. Third manners which you're going to see is cafeteria. Cafeteria is where you're going to eat, which is your cafe or your canteen. So the first point is very important: have your meal only at the cafeteria, not in the parking lot or not on your floor or not in your desk. Make sure you eat at the cafeteria only. Next, wait in the queue for your turn at the counter. So people will automatically form a queue, so please do not barge in or break the queue and go. Please wait for your turn. Next, take only as much as you want, which means do not take too much and waste the food. Do not leave food in your plate. So in case you have left something, make sure you put it in the dustbin. I'm sorry. Then keep your plate and cup at the cleaning counter, which means do not leave it at the table, because you're not eating in a restaurant where you can expect the waiter to pick up your plates, because once you get up there will be people waiting for you, waiting to sit in your table. So make sure you take the plate and cup and put it in the cleaning counter, and make sure you don't spill or your food or drinks, because there will not be cleaning or housekeeping who will keep on constantly come and clean your table like they do in malls and restaurants. So it will be uncomfortable for others who will come and sit and have their lunch after you have finished. So please do not spill it, and do not talk or chew loudly. This is very important. Talking too loudly is also it's not prohibited, but it is just an acceptable etiquette. People will expect you to not talk too loudly. And the last one is, do not chew loudly. Don't say like that, because in a meeting also or wherever you go, you're expected to chew with your mouth closed. So follow that as well. The last workplace etiquette is mobile manners. So keep your ringtone or ringer on the low volume, and always speak in soft tone while speaking on the phone. Don't yell or say hello like that. Just maintain a soft or a medium tone, and stop the urge of checking your mobile often, because when you're at home or bored, you keep checking your phone every 5 minutes, or you're like with your phone all the time. Don't do that at workplace. Just keep it on your desk and check only if any important mails or messages are come. And then if you have to make a personal call, please excuse yourself from the floor and go to the restroom or the portico to talk. Please don't take personal calls on the floor. Avoid playing games, and be careful of using social networking sites. So some companies might allow you to um, check your social networking like Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, I mean Instagram, whatever. But some companies restrict even taking your smartphones inside. You'll be allowed to take only your basic phones. So depending on the etiquettes that the corporates are following, you should also follow the same. So the next etiquette we're going to see is email or electronic mail etiquette. So this is the basic structure of the email if you want to follow the email etiquette. So it starts with the address, to address whomever you're going to send the email to, then salutation, subject, body of the message, and the last one is signature. We'll just see one by one. So the first one is address, as I told you, to field and CC field. To field is where the people, if you have, they have to complete the action that you are actually quoting in the body of the message, then you put the address of those people in the to. And CC starts for it stands for carbon copy, and you will quote the people to whom you're just sending this for information. And there's something called as BCC. It's called blind carbon copy. uh, my advice is, please do not use it at workplace, because if you're sending something blindly, and if someone comes to know that you've actually sent, it will look like you have stabbed them in the back, and it will be a big issue. So everything should be transparent. So to and CC should only be used when you're sending emails. Please do not use the PCC. Next is salutation. You should start with the greeting and then put the name of the person to whom you're writing the email, and you complete it with a comma. So like you write a letter, respected sir, madam, but that is professional. But in corporate, they're not that formal. You can just start with dear, and then you can mention their name, and then make sure that it is ends with a comma. Next is subject. This should be elaborate, but at the same time it should be short and crisp. So when someone studies the subject itself or reads the subject itself, they'll have an idea of what the email is about. So your subject should actually be that elaborate, but at the same time short and crisp. You should not write a long sentence, but at the same time you should not just give meaningless words. So these are some of the points that you should keep in mind when you write the content or the body of the email. So you should connect with your reader, so the reader should be able to understand what you're trying to say. Then work out who you're writing to. Use everyday language. Don't use too many complicated words or complicated sentences. So keep it simple. Avoid jargon and abbreviations, like, so don't say GM, by the way, BTW or something like that. Don't use jargons and abbreviations. So make sure you elaborate these words, and then keep your sentences and paragraphs short. Don't write lengthy emails. So if it is just 4-5 sentences, it is short and crisp, and if the reader is able to understand what you're trying to say, that is enough. Then be concise in your ideas as well. So be structurized and keep it to the point. Don't deviate. And the last one is tone of your email. So if you're asking someone to do something for you, you have to make it as a request. Don't command or be rude in what you're writing. So maintain the tone of your email. Last thing is your signature. You should put your name, your designation, your contact details, the website of the company, and stuff like that. If this is like, you can I'm sure you would have all used Gmail. So signature is already there in your you can I mean sorry pre you can store it before itself, and every time you compose a new email, the signature will automatically come. But as you can see, this is like a corporate email. So there is something called attach file, attach item, and there's a signature, you can see. So you preserve your signature, and if you just attach it every time, it will automatically come when you compose new emails. So these are the things that you have to give a thought before writing an email to someone. So know your purpose. Why? Who? Know yourself. Who? Me? Is the time appropriate of sending the email? That is when you have to send the email. Know your material. That is what you're sending. And know your medium, where you're sending this. So the next etiquette I'm going to tell you about is telephone etiquette. So telephone etiquette is nothing but defined set of rules and guidelines that you have to follow while interacting over the phone. This can be with a client or customer, or it can be with a superior or anyone, as long as it's a professional call. So there are 4 things that you have to follow. How you have to open the call, control the call, close the call, and follow it up. We'll see one by one. So when you're opening the call, the first thing that when you pick up the phone, you should use your best voice. Be cautious of how you say something, because 86% of impact is made by the tone you're using, and only 14% are counted on the words that you use. And always wear a smile, even though the person cannot see you. If you wear a smile, if you smile when you're talking, it will automatically showcase a positive tone. And speak with clarity at a normal speed. Don't be too slow and don't be so fast in talking. Make use of relevant words in order to avoid confusion. So whatever the topic is, use the relevant words for that. Don't deviate it to avoid confusion. Next, making the call. If you're making the call to someone, plan what you're going to say. Use friendly behavior to greet the caller. Make an introduction of yourself and your institute or organization from where you're calling, and inform the reason why you have called. Ask if it is convenient for the caller to talk. Be clear and professional. Leave room for questions. So when you're making a call and if the caller has picked up on the other side, you should make sure that you greet them. Say good morning or good afternoon, and then you introduce yourself, that is so and so speaking from this so and so company. and you have to inform the reason why you have called, and you have to ask. This is very very important, because on the other side the people might be busy in some meetings, or they might be occupied with some personal work. So you have to say if this is a convenient time to talk, and in case they say this is not a convenient time, please do not continue. You should just ask them what time it will be convenient, so I can get back to you, and you have to cut the call. So how do you introduce yourself? You can say, good morning, Rajiv speaking. Hello, this is Rajiv here. Good morning, my name is Rajiv, or this is Rajiv speaking. So you can use any one of these to introduce yourself. Next, how do you control the call? So if you want to put the customer or client on hold, you have to give a reason of why you're putting them on hold. Ask for the customer's permission or consent to be put on hold and wait for an answer. Don't keep the caller waiting for more than a minute, and then thank the caller when you get back. Give progress reports to the caller. And in case the person is unwilling to be on hold, you have to establish a good time to call the person back. So this is like the etiquettes that you have to follow in case you're putting the customer or client on hold. So in case you're transferring the call, before transferring the call, you have to check with the caller if she or he is okay, and then inform the caller to whom they are being transferred. So if you want to transfer the call to some other department or your superior, you have to tell them that you're transferring the call to my project manager or team leader or to the so and so department, and then make a brief introduction of the caller and the purpose to the co-worker. So the other person to whom you're transferring the call to should also know about the purpose of transferring the call and about the caller. These are some of the do's and don'ts that you should do while controlling the call. And first one is, concentrate on what the caller is saying. Paraphrase the caller to confirm your understanding. Paraphrase means say something, repeat certain words or sentences that the caller has told you, so that to confirm that whatever he has told is you have correctly understood it. Then use responses such as I see, yes, I understand, something like that, and make notes of important information. What you should not do is you should not interrupt. You should wait for the caller to confirm or complete sentences. You should not complete the sentences for the caller. You should not switch the caller's focus, or you should not tune out. That is, you should not deviate or divert yourself to some other thing while the caller is talking to you, because if you do that, you can miss some important information. And do not handle other work. Like you should not talk to the you should not be putting the phone on your ears and start doing something in your computer or some other phone, or talk to someone, because that will distract you. So you should give your full attention to the caller. So you should always focus on the caller's concerns, listen to what the caller says, address the issues and questions quickly, respond in a clear and positive manner. You should offer only apt and useful information. You should not deviate from the information that you're actually talking to and give unnecessary information. If you ignore the concerns, the caller will either stop you and say again the concern or question, or they will not say anything but feel dissatisfied. So that will become a negative mark for you. So please don't do that. So how do you close the call? So reconfirm the outcome of the call. So why the caller has called you. So you should reconfirm. Prepare an outline of further course of action. So in case the problem has not been resolved during this time, you have to prepare an outline of further course. So I'm going to do this and this and make sure the problem is resolved. And you have to thank the person, and you have to wait for the caller to disconnect, because they might add something at the final moment. They might have to say something, so don't cut it. Wait for them to disconnect the call, and you ensure that you leave the caller with a positive impression. So there might be some cases where you have to follow up. The problems would have not been resolved with the first call. So how do you follow up? You have to review the specific questions and the information needed, provide a time frame to the caller, and you have to make a commitment and keep up the promise. So when you're cutting the call in the first, you can just say I'll get back to you in a week, and make sure the problem is resolved. And you have to make sure that you resolve the problem and get back to the caller within that particular time frame that you have promised. So the last etiquette we are going to see is meeting etiquette. So what is meeting etiquette? It is expected behavior from people who participate or lead the meetings to make the meetings more successful. So before you go to a meeting, so you have to have answers for these three questions. Do you know the purpose of the meeting? Do you have the agenda? What is going to be discussed in the meeting, and do you know your role in the meeting? How do you add value to the meeting? So you have preparation, participation, disciplined behavior, getting buy-in for the points, and time management. So what is the preparation that you have to do before you attend a meeting? First thing you have to do is do your homework. So you need to read and understand the agenda of the meeting thoroughly. So what is going to be discussed, you have to read about it. Do your homework in terms of reading, collecting data, or any other specific information that would help you to understand about the agenda or converse in the meeting. Next, seek clarification if needed, that is, be clear of your role with respect to the agenda. So if the in case the agenda is not clear or you need more clarification, please do not hesitate to get in touch with the lead of the meeting or whoever is initiated or invited you for the meeting. So in case you don't understand something, so please get back to the person who has actually initiated this meeting and clarify the agenda. Next, participation. Share relevant points in concise manner, that is, remember the quality of your thoughts that you share in a meeting are directly proportional to your reputation. So please do not give unnecessary information or thoughts, so it will affect your reputation. So maintain the quality, and well thoughtful and concise points you share, the more enhanced your image would be. So the more thoughtful and concise points you share, so definitely your image will look bigger. Next, active listening, which is very important. Active listening is nothing but obviously you have to listen actively, that is nodding your head while listening. Show facial expressions that you're listening. You should show, you should smile. You should just look into the presenter or speaker. You should not look here and there, and you should nod your heads and say yes, or you should smile all the time. So these are some of the do's and don'ts in a meeting that will help you in disciplined behavior. So what you should do is be on time, respect the speaker, keep your mobile switched off, because putting in silent could also be a distraction. So switch it off before you go to the meeting. And in case you disagree to some of the speaker's points that he is putting forward, please wait for him or her to finish and then put forth your point. What you should not do, do not do side conversation while the speaker is addressing, that is, don't talk to person sitting next to you left or right, that is side conversation. Do not check the time when the meeting is on, because it's like an insult to the speaker. I'm sure you all do in the classrooms. You'll wait for the hour, you'll keep on checking your mobiles or your watches for the hour to get finished, but don't do that in a meeting or as a matter of fact in on your workplace as well. Do not yawn or fidget with your hands or things around, as it shows your boredom. So don't yawn or fidget, like don't tap the phone on tap the pen on the table, or fidget with your watch or something like that, because it'll look as though you're bored. And do not take longer time than specified for your space. So in case you're asked to speak or put forth your points, don't elaborate it, keep it crisp and finish it off soon. So getting buy-in for your points. So in case you have put forth some points, first you should have confidence in yourself. So before you're going to say something, please have confidence, self confidence, but not overconfidence. Know your subject, know what you're actually speaking. You should have effective communication skills. Make sure you don't do any grammatical mistakes. Be open and respect other members for sharing their points. So there might be some criticism on the points that you're sharing, so you should invite it. You should not offend it, take offended. Then be comfortable with silence, because sometimes people will not express or immediately respond to what you're saying, so you should be comfortable with it. Be genuine and not fake. Do not uh, impose yourself with accent, and just be yourself. Then respect seniority. Do not get offended by criticism. As I told you, people will not agree to certain points that you have put forth, so you should not get offended or feel bad about that, and agree to disagree. The last important thing for a meeting is time management. Review the agenda before the meeting, be on time, ask only relevant questions during the meeting, and suppose the end time is not fixed, bring it to lead's attention. because people will be busy, so they will want to know how long the meeting is going to be there. So the meeting should be, timing should be fixed. In case if it is not fixed, you have to bring it to the attention of the lead of the meeting or whoever has initiated it. So that's the end of the corporate etiquettes. So hope you all understood and enjoyed it. Thank you.